Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 116 of the WP Café show with myself, Mark Wilkinson, and as always, my co-host, Keith Devon. If you're new here, we're the show that talks about things WordPress development, running our agency, building our products, servicing our customers, and everything in between. So if that sounds like something that you do, you're interested in, then please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you think it's something that someone else would be interested in, do consider sharing this with someone else. It always helps us. It's good to know. So thank you. If you are joining us live on YouTube, thank you. Let us know in the comments who you are, where you are, because I know there's some of you that sneak in there and don't tell us who you are and you're listening. So it'd be nice to hear from you anyway. Today we've got a few topics to talk about. We didn't have a show last week or the week before. Last week we were busy attending an event, which we're going to talk about in today's episode. And the week before, I think it was half term, so we had various bits and bobs on with schools out and things like that. So we're nice to be back. We're going to talk a bit about our product, Job Relay, something new, a bit about the event we went to, and various other bits and bobs. So if you've got any comments on those things, do let us know in the chat, and we will try and get to as many of you as we can. As always, though, how have you been, Keith? How has your week or weeks been?
Weeks. Eventful. Super busy week last week with the run up to I'm going to call it WordPress London. Yeah, our talk at WordPress London, which we'll talk about in more detail. But yeah, so busy run up to that. Bit of a hangover from that, but no time for a hangover because then I was off for the weekend to create an actual hangover. It was a double birthday celebration, so we went and hired an Airbnb with 4 families or 4, and had a really nice weekend, and then back to work on Monday, and here we are. So bit of a more chilled out week this week actually, which has been quite nice. Felt like last week there was the lead up to the talk, which always stresses me out anyway. But there was also like a few rec press builds and things. There's a bit more going on. There's a bit more urgency about that week. I think it's probably because I'd been away the week previously, so it's been hectic. It's been hectic. But good week this week. What have we been up to? A few bits and bobs. Made some changes to our website, which I need to iron out a few little issues with that. But yeah, we've kind of restructured our website a little bit. Was that down as one of the topics? Am I going straight into a topic here?
Come on, that later on.
So that was hopefully, I don't know. The change there is that we have unspecialized our homepage from recruitment. So we decided quite a few years ago now that we were going to just try to push the recruitment side of things because of our experience with Job Relay and building job boards.
You have to niche.
Yeah. You need a niche. And like, I don't disagree with that as advice, but it didn't work for us in terms of like changing our the focus of our homepage and our website towards recruitment. Definitely did not result in any more recruitment website builds, which was interesting. So we've and now that we've done a few of the independent schools and we're getting more and more inquiries in that sector, it felt like it'll just be super confusing to potential independent school prospects for them to kind of come along and they land on our homepage and it's all recruitment agency focused. And so we've changed the homepage to be something more generic with links to those 2 specific landing pages to those specific sectors, and then links out to our products and stuff. So it was quite a lot of work in the end because I needed to get the landing pages done and case studies so that those landing pages had case studies. So there's like, just to change the homepage, I needed to like rejig or create like about 4 pages. But yeah, it's there, it's up, it's not perfect. I want to make some changes. We need some photography of ourselves to put up there. I really don't like the image that's in the hero. I might take it out actually. I don't think it looks very good.
I like it. I like the changes. I think it's the right thing to do because it was just confusing before. So having the 2 landing pages, I think is nice, and I like the message as well on the front. I think it's quite nice. Again, could it be improved? Probably, but you could spend hours, days, weeks, months trying to make it, sound better.
Yeah.
I wonder whether the picture in the top right, regardless of which picture we use, I don't
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
matters, needs to be like a different shape rather than just a boring old square. Maybe.
Like what? A
Well, I don't know.
rhombus?
We used to have, although we don't seem to have anymore. We used to have that sort of sloping line on the website, but I don't know whether if that's
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
thing that's gone. We could like do that somehow, maybe like even put like, I don't know.
I'm sure we could.
I hate getting into design because I'm not very good at it. So giving suggestions
but
sounds a bit weird.
but it just looks a bit vanilla for your taste.
It just looks a bit square, and it's not square; it's rectangular. But you know what I mean. But,
it's funny, isn't it? Because I totally get what you're saying, and I agree. I agree with you. But like the vast majority of images on websites are rectangular. Like they're just simple rectangles, and sometimes I feel like it looks boring and plain, and sometimes it just looks right. And it must be the design around it and like the spacing and the grid system used, because sometimes it just looks so sharp and sometimes it looks so boring, and I can't quite. And all it's the same thing. It's a square or rectangular image. It's hard to pinpoint. Design's hard.
I have spotted something that needs changing.
Go.
The title tag, it says Home Highrise Digital.
We're doing this live on air. Good one. Yeah.
So
what else? Yeah. What should it be? Just Highrise Digital?
I don't know.
WordPress,
what should
WordPress
it be?
agency or WordPress websites or?
Good question.
WordPress
probably
specialists dash
combination of everything. I don't know really, but it certainly shouldn't be Home Highrise Digital. I can guarantee that. But it should certainly be something to do with what people are looking for.
I don't think that page is an SEO. I mean, it's not. It's I haven't really thought about SEO for that page at all in terms of the content. I've just written a page that I thought explains what we do.
But whether you put WordPress websites, WordPress agency, that's better than Home Highrise Digital. So
I mean, it's better, but I think we're not going to rank for it anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, I will change it. Yeah, ask Bob. Yeah, good point.
Quick shout outs. Hi, Elliot. Thank you again for joining us. Hello from Madrid, BP. I think you're a new listener, so thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you enjoy the show. Mark, thank you for joining us. Nick is here as well. Thank you, Nick. And Xsalam says, ask Bob. I think Keith just mentioned that. What to call that page. Bob is pretty good at these things, usually, most of the time. Until it's not, and then it's a disaster.
Pretty average, I would say, but yeah. Quick, but average.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's our new website. I said new website, new homepage.
It's an old website. Like that theme's pretty old now, isn't it? Like I really would like to do something different with it, but I still think it looks smart enough. It's not. It hasn't hit the levels where I'm embarrassed by it. So
I think it's fine. It's our look, nice but not too fancy.
Yeah, I like that. I'd like to add a few things in. I need to turn on dimension controls on the site so I can actually use block gap and stuff. But I did do that, and it just broke everything, didn't it? There were so many like little spacing rules that got broken.
Buttons keep getting stuck to the images, to the text above it and stuff like that. Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't necessarily change it in this case, but there's a section where it's what we're up to, and I use the grid block, or should I say the grid variation of the group block? Is that what it is?
I know what you mean.
And it's very, very, there's not very much space between each of the grid items, and I have no control over that. And I want some control over that. And even on the homepage hero, I want to reduce the amount of space above the kind of hero image. And I can't do any of that. I can obviously do it with the customizer or some custom CSS and stuff. But I would like to kind of make some of that stuff available to us. The other thing I want to play with is scroll-based CSS scroll-based animations. Because I watched a really cool video about that the other day with some logos that were like whizzing across the screen as you scroll. You weren't a massive fan of that particular example, which is fine, and it was maybe a little bit too distracting. But it could be used to do some really nice little subtle kind of parallaxy kind of effects and things like that. And I think that would I think that would look really cool. It's all the rage these days.
I,
So
I always
I'd like to play.
I always battle between fancy like that and just annoying. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
a
really
really
hard to get it
good
right.
example of that is if you go to one of the product pages on the Apple website, like the iPhone or the MacBook or whatever, and when you first land on them and you start scrolling, you're like, "Wow, this is cool," and then looking. But when you go back to them, when you just want information, it's like, just go away and show me the information. Like,
I'm actually surprised that Apple still do that, because I
yeah,
was looking at buying a HomePod Mini.
yep.
Um,
I wouldn't, by the way. But anyway.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I've already ordered it. But, I know you've had loads of problems with yours. It's for my daughter, but anyway. I went on that page and instantly I was just like, oh, just stop it. Just go away. Like, you scroll down, you're trying to read something, but you're halfway through the animation and it's just like, and the accessibility on those pages is horrific. Like dark gray text on a black background and stuff. I'm just like, I'm actually surprised, because I think it actually looks dated now. Like, it's technically impressive, and like artistically, you can like, to try to come up with the concept of those pages is mind blowing. But actually, I think it's kind of a bit dated, that whole thing now. Like, but anyway, that's just me.
But I was just going to say, I wonder if you have reduced motion turned on, does it honor that? I wonder and do something different. Because actually, maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe that's the answer. Just I need to turn on reduced motion.
That would just fix the internet for you, wouldn't it? Just turn on prefers reduced motion. But that's assuming anybody's actually using that. But yeah, I do try to.
And while we're live critiquing our homepage, we've got a latest work, the Kim Bolton School.
Yeah.
Why don't we have one of those for recruitment sites as well? So we've got like recruitment websites, school websites, example of school website, example of recruitment
I actually do further down. So there's the Kim Bolton one, and then I talk about WP Café, and then I show the screenshot of
and then read the case study.
Yeah. But I could make those sections joined up a little bit more, like latest recruitment build, latest school build, and do it that way. I probably should do that.
I think I probably would do that, but I mean, it's something and nothing. Don't worry about it. But it's just, I thought might be better to have it together.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was topic number 4 that we've just suddenly gone for first. But never mind. We'll mix and match. That's what this show's all about. Make it up as you go along.
Exactly.
So that's our website. So the next thing on our list was our product called Job Relay, which, if you didn't know what Job Relay does, which some of you are new, so you might not, it integrates your WordPress site with various job posting services, and it allows jobs to be delivered from those posting services to your WordPress site. And I've been working on a new integration recently with Recruit CRM, which is one of these posting services that is used. And that uses XML. So they have, or you allowed to create an XML feed of your jobs, and you can mark a job to be delivered to that XML feed. And what I've done is create a system that will pull that XML feed every so often. You can set that to be like 30 minutes or 4 hours or whatever is appropriate for your time scale of posting. So if you post 1 job a day, you might do that in the morning, and therefore you can just set it to like 12 hours. If you're a regular poster, you might want to pull it more often. And that comes across. And that's worked really well. We have one customer who's now using it. It seems to be working well. Jobs are coming in. Interesting. I had to do some tweaks based on the customer feedback, which is always nice to be able to improve it. It was nice to be. We had one request from the customer, and I was like to Keith, I was like, "Oh, it's ridiculous! You can't do that. It's like I'd have to rebuild the whole thing." So I went and had a quick look at it. It's like, "Oh, I've already built it like that." So it's actually dead easy to tweak and change that, which was nice. It was just having setting the post title to a different field than than the normal job title field. And weirdly, I'd allowed you to do that anyway. I don't quite know why, really, but anyway, that's good. Which was good. So and then that's kind of opened up other suggestions that will actually work for any service that uses XML, not just Recruit CRM. There is some Recruit CRM specific things, and the way I've built it, I might have to just tweak an endpoint or duplicate it and give it a different name and so on. But essentially, it'll be the same piece of code that's running. So I've done a landing page for that for XML jobs. I already had a landing page for Recruit CRM. So fingers crossed they'll get picked up, and maybe we'll get some customers coming for those. But yeah, it's always exciting to build new things for your product.
Yeah,
and then they work in live. It's nice. So it's
yeah, because that's one of the things with our products, especially Job Relay, I guess, is that there isn't that much scope to add features because it just does what it does. Like, there's not too much else it can do because you're getting data from these third parties, and there's only certain data that they send, and then all you're trying to do is save it somewhere. So it is nice, isn't it, when there's like something to add on to improve or develop it a little bit.
And who knows? That might open up another lot of customers that use Recruit CRM and want to post on. Obviously, we need to have a think about how we can promote that. Can we get them involved with telling the customers, or what can we do about it? So, but yeah, that's all good stuff. So I'm sure we'll be able to do that. So yeah, product work. It's always exciting. I enjoyed that. So it's good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good.
Next on the list.
Yeah.
WPLDN. Last week, wasn't it? Yeah, well, this time last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we went and did a talk and attended, obviously. So down to London, and we stayed overnight. So we got some time to chat and catch up with people, which was good.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. So
good,
nice to be back chatting to people, and it felt like a lot of the, I don't want to say like the old school people were there, but like
there were.
There were.
Yeah.
It was good to catch up with everybody. So if you were there and we said hello, it was fantastic to be able to speak to you. What were your thoughts?
I loved it. I really like that venue. I don't know why. It's just a nice kind of cozy, homely, non-corporate feel to it. The only problem with this is it's not big enough. Like Dan's saying, like, he could probably get more people to come along, but it's I think there were like, I don't know, 50 odd, say, people there, which is a really nice number too. But it's like, it'd be nice if more people could come to try to grow the event again. But yeah, great little venue, great people. Dan and his team, I should say, because I think Paul Smart does loads of the work behind the scenes. Nathan Wrigley was there after like a 40-hour trip back from WordCamp Asia or whatever. 40 hours, it wasn't 40 hours. But anyway, and then there's some volunteers that kind of help out and stuff as well. So yeah, like that team, it's slick, isn't it? It's so good. Like all the like AV setup is really, really slick. Dan's, he's a great kind of compare, and he's just a lovely, lovely bloke. And just creates a really nice atmosphere. Loved it. Thought Louise's talk was great. So Louise Towler did a talk on accessibility, and I've been to a lot of accessibility talks, usually by Graham, who was there, Graham Armfield. But Louise's was from an agency angle, which I thought was an angle I hadn't really kind of heard before, like what they have to do as an agency to make sure that their sites are accessible. And fair play to her, because they really take it seriously.
Yeah,
they really take it seriously, and it's very, very impressive actually, and made me feel a little bit guilty as well, because that stuff is hard. Like for her, it's a non-negotiable. Like if we're building your website, it is going to be like AA 2.1 or 2.2 or whatever. It's going to hit those metrics. And at one point, she was talking about branding. This is an interesting point. And I can't remember if she raised it or someone else raised it, that like if the branding is kind of delivered to you and the color contrast isn't right or isn't accessible, how does she deal with that? And she was basically like, I'll get them to write to me to say that we've advised them that this isn't correct and that they still want to go ahead. Which is interesting, because then they're not building an accessible website.
It doesn't really solve the problem, though, does it? So
doesn't solve the problem. No, it doesn't. And I guess at some point as a business, that does show that there's a limit to the sticking to principles and being a bit more pragmatic in certain circumstances, because you wouldn't want to throw away a whole build knowing that they're happy to pay for it to be by and large very accessible, only to fail on like a really tiny contrast like issue, especially if it's really borderline. So I get that. I totally get that. And she
I
was
agree.
she was kind of honest about that, and I thought that was quite a good solution in a way. It's just like, look, we're advising you against this, and you're choosing, so you have the right to us to tell us that that's what's happening. So that was interesting. And then we were on in the second half, and I thought by and large we did okay. But on reflection, I don't think it was the best talk. I mean, it wasn't the best talk, but maybe not the best talk we could have delivered. Mostly because I think we kind of we spread ourselves a bit too thin. So it was a case study. It was a case study on the recent school website we built, kimboltonschool.com. And we wanted to give kind of a general, this is how we built it, because we'd come up against some interesting challenges and we wanted to kind of highlight those. But we just didn't cover anything in any depth. And actually we titled it like, this is how we built it with FSE. And actually it wasn't really an FSE full site editing talk at all. Really. We didn't actually touch on many of the full site editing features or workflows. It was most of the more interesting stuff was kind of some of the features that the site had and how we approach those, rather than how we're setting up templates and patterns and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I spoke to some friends about it this morning, and apparently there were some people nodding along and taking notes in the crowd. So I think we, hopefully added some value to some people. But just interestingly, like, I didn't get when I've given some talks before, I get people coming off and you can tell that they're buzzing with it. They're like, oh, thanks so much. That was really useful. It's such a great talk. And I didn't get that. I had a lot of, oh, well done. Good talk. It's like, I think very low key. You did an okay job. You didn't mess it up.
It's so difficult in 25 minutes to do anything. I don't want to say like valuable, because I'm sure there's some things that people took out of that talk that was useful, but so difficult to cover anything in such detail. And I think you've got to remember, it is talk. It's not a tutorial or a workshop where you're going to attend and learn how to do something. That's not what it is. It's a talk. It's literally a presentation of something. In our case, it was how we built this site and some of the concepts that we had. We can't possibly just go into every detail. That's not what it is. Like Louise's talk, it was great, but she didn't go into great detail about everything that they did. It was just a broad overview of the things they cover and some of the resources they use and some of the things they come across. We found it really valuable. But she could have gone into detail about every aspect of that, and done 20 minutes on just how they do various different parts of it. Yeah. So I think you've just got to remember, you can't do that. And if you're going to do that, you need to pick one aspect and really focus down on that one aspect, or maybe two. But and then you miss out all the other things that you think actually were probably really useful. So
yeah,
it's difficult to do. I think it's difficult.
I think it must have been quite a hard talk to follow, I think, because we were moving quickly and jumping around so much. Like, there wasn't like a real nice kind of flow to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had stuff to learn. Like I say, I think we delivered it like reasonably well. I think it worked having the two of us and going back and forth. People said that they liked that. I was nervous. It was funny. I was like, I'm always nervous. I'm always nervous, like standing up in front of people. It's just not my natural habitat at all. But interestingly, when you were talking, my legs started shaking. Like I just felt, because I'm just just standing there with nothing to think about except that I'm standing in front of loads of people. Right. And then whenever I started talking, I calmed down because I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about delivering my content. And then you'd start talking again and the shakes would start again. I was like, God damn it. It's like, just trying to hold it together so I wasn't visibly shaking in front of everybody. Because I was actually quite enjoying it, but my body was saying, get the hell out of here. You're in danger. It's just that like internal.
Weirdly, I usually don't get nervous up until about 5 minutes before you're going on to stage is when I sort of like, and I don't get nervous. I just, I suddenly start thinking, I'm about to give a talk. That sort of nerves.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I literally didn't on this talk, which is weird.
Yeah.
And I haven't done a talk for a while.
Yeah.
I just literally walked on and started talking.
Yeah.
Which is weird in itself, but yeah,
I
I don't mind talking. I quite like it.
I sort of like it. Yeah, I just don't like all that. I don't like all that nervous build up to it. Once I'm actually doing it, and then afterwards, I'm like, yeah, that was great. But the build up to it wasn't too bad actually, and I think it was partly because I was doing it with you, so I felt like I had a bit of a safety net and like an ally up there with me. But yeah.
Do you think knowing the venue helps you as well?
Yeah, I think feeling comfortable in a space. Yeah, no, I do.
I think it doesn't matter to me, but I think people have said that in the past, that if they know like where they're standing, where people are going to be sitting, and what it's going to look like, it makes them feel a bit more comfortable when they're speaking. But I just wonder if that was the case.
Well, one of the things I like to do when I do give talks now is to turn up early and just get and like feel, I don't know what the right word is, just comfortable and grounded in a space. Yeah. I would hate to turn up and then to a full room and then have to walk on stage. That would freak me right out. But like being there, and then as it fills up and you kind of say hi to a few people and you feel like you're kind of comfortable in that space, I think really, really helps. I wrote a blog post once called Public Speaking for Introverts. And I couldn't find it recently. I'm going to try to find it again because there were some really good tips. I wrote it for myself. Basically, it's like, these are the things you like should think about next time to make it easier. But yeah, and it was good. There were some good tips in there. So I'll have to dig that out again next time.
I've got it here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. What were my tips?
That was the link. If you want to.
Don't send a link to my site. It's like, that thing needs to be put out of its misery. Right. Anyway.
I don't know. Cool. Anyway, you can peruse that at your leisure.
Yeah. Fine.
KeithDevon.com, public speaking for injury. You'll find it if you go onto his website.
Yeah.
Hey ho. So that was WPLDN. Yeah, can't wait to go back. Actually, it'd be good. I don't know when that'll be, but
I might try to go this month. I haven't seen this month's announced, or has it? I'm going to quickly look while you do your.
I don't think so, but yeah, it'd be exciting to go back and do another talk, or just visit. It'd be good.
Yeah,
just a nice few days to spend. It was good. Anyway, moving on. These next topics, how long have we done? We've done 27 minutes. We're kind of on our radar for the last one, but we never did it. So I'm not so sure we can look at them. One of them is embracing block dimensions, which I know you've already spoke about.
Yeah.
In terms of like our website and being able to use them. So we need to sort that out, I think, on our site, don't we? And we do use them for clients, don't we? We allow block dimensions to be turned on usually. We do, and it was part of the talk actually. Yeah. I kind of wish that's a talk I'd quite like to give all on its own. Is like default spacing and dimension rules that can be overridden by the editor, because that is a marriage made in heaven. So for me, I really like to create clever defaults for margins and paddings, and I thought that couldn't exist in a world where you also had the dimensions dimension controls, but it turns out that you can. So you just create the nice defaults, and then you basically, whenever you add dimension controls, that overrides your defaults. That would be a good talk. Yeah, I might do it as a little video or something, but yeah. So now I always want those two things because it's super useful to have them whenever you need them, but it's great to have the nice defaults built in so that you don't need to reach for them too often. It's the best of both worlds. Yeah. A few comments. Mark says a rectangle with sloped top and bottom edge with a little subtle parallax. I think he's talking about the image on our homepage. He was, yeah. I think that might be nice. I'm sure you can experiment with that, Keith. It's the parallax bit that I want to play with, definitely. Yeah. I thought you might. Excelams, thanks for joining us. Yes, some of the websites on awards websites have poor accessibility. Oh my god, yeah. And performance, yeah. Lots do, don't they, really? Most website awards are given to horrific websites, basically. Yeah. It's almost, they're like works of art rather than actual usable websites.
Yeah.
Reese says hello. Hi, Reese.
Hi, Reese.
Thanks for joining us. And Nick says, this is about our talk. Don't do yourselves down. It was a great talk. You demonstrated some clever solutions to some tricky problems in the block editor. I do. I think we did. I mean, we didn't go into detail, and maybe people can investigate those more themselves. But I think, for example, our sort of like in section menu was a really good solution to that problem.
We need to do a blog post stroke videos, do something on that. For sure,
definitely. Yeah. And Nick says 2 pints of Guinness apparently helped with my lack of nerves at the start.
Yeah.
I'm not admitting to 2 pints of Guinness. Probably happened, but I'm not admitting to it.
Glad it wasn't anymore. Like, it gets to that tipping point. Like we were at the pub quite early. I was a bit worried about that, but
not that early. People are going to think we were there at like 1 o'clock.
What was it? 3 o'clock?
I think it was like 4:30 at the most, and we were at the venue for 6. Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Right. You're probably right. Yeah.
We checked in the restaurant, the hotel, at like 3:15, so it kind of been that. Yeah, kind of been that early. Anyway, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was good.
It was great fun.
Right, let's wrap up there. We've done half an hour. We should be back next week, barring any emergencies that cause us not to be.
I think
we'll soon see. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you have any suggestions for future topics of discussion, do reach out to us. We're always interested in chatting about things that you're interested in and obviously that we're interested in. If you like the show, do give us a like, share us around, subscribe to the channel, all the stuff, you know what to do. And thanks again for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, folks. See you soon.